Welcome to Brothers of the Word, because, brother, you need the Word. And as you know, I am in the midst of a series called The 7 Thorns of Life. And it deals with where Paul was stating that he had a thorn in his flesh, a messenger sent from Satan, and he prayed to God 3 times, Lord, please take this thorn away from me. And God said, no, I'm not going to take it away. It's there for purpose. And we're dealing with those 7 thorns of life. And I was in prayer with George, our youngest son, and God just said, ask George, what are the 7 thorns of life? And he instantly rattled them off. The first was relationship, which was the first message that I talked about. If you got a thorn of relationship, go to brothersoftheword.com. You can listen to the entire series absolutely free of charge. The second was finance. If you got money issues, again, listen to the finance. Today was the third one, which George called out. And that third thorn is health. Now, I want to just play a video. This will be file number 2. And this is just one of George's, let me talk to you for a minute. And just play that. I want you to just listen to what he said.
Let me talk to you for a minute. Today I want to tell you 3 things to boost you. The first is get in the sun. Whenever the sun beams down upon you, it makes you feel good. And that's not for no reason. Because sunlight provides you with serotonin, along with vitamin D, of course. Getting in the sun simply boosts you and makes you feel good. The next thing that I want to tell you is exercise. And you can combine sunlight and exercise. Go out there and walk or run under the sun. Not only do you get serotonin from the sun, but whenever you exercise, your body releases endorphins. And a wonderful way to put it is endorphins are the feel-good chemical to your body. And the third is cleanliness. Go clean your room. As Jordan Peterson states, the area around you is an extension of you. And if the area around you is cluttered, it can make your psyche feel cluttered. So go out there and clean your room, exercise, and get in the sun. It'll boost you.
And that was just George. He does that every day on social media. Let me talk to you for a minute. But I'm not going to talk to you today about the traditional things of health, because if you've been a part of this ministry or been listening to us, you've heard so much of that from all of us. We are strong believers that you need to be proactive with your health. And it's a whole lot better to stay well than to get sick and have us come trying to lay hands on you to get you well. Whole lot better to stay well. So today I want to talk to you not about the principles of health. I want to talk to you about the thorns of health. And what do you mean thorns? First of all, I want to begin with this. And this is something that James and we attend a monthly meeting of a CEO group, men who run major corporations. And the mantra or the motto of the group is simply this. It's what they teach us there. Stuff is not done to you, it's done for you. And when you can adopt and adapt that mindset, that things are not done to me, they are done for me, it changes how you interact with everything that happens to you. The thorns of health. Some of us have thorns of health. We have thorns in our flesh. It's stuff that we were literally born with. I've got 2 or 3 particular thorns that I was born with. And I've had to re-gear my mindset not to view the thorns as Paul initially did. Because Paul initially said, and the Bible doesn't tell you what his thorns were. Many of the theologians think that it was a thorn of health that was plaguing Paul, but nobody knows what that thorn was. Paul said, Lord, take this thing from me. See, one of the first thorns that I had a thorn in my skin. My skin was ultra sensitive to anything I ate. If I ate a candy bar or some greasy fries, my skin would literally get grease on it within 5 minutes. I could take a napkin and wipe it. It'd just be just as greasy as it can be. And I'm saying to myself, why is my skin so sensitive? Why was I born like this? See, this is sometimes the way we are. We curse that which God has given us because we view it as a thorn. And sometimes it is a thorn. So here I am dealing with, and that was like this way for me. I'm still like this right now. When Lucretia would do the makeup, she would comment sometimes two things. She said, Pastor, your skin is smoother than most women. How do you get your skin so smooth? And then the other time she said this, you must have eaten something wrong because you got a bump right there. And the bump could be there from 10 minutes later after I ate something wrong. It just pop up. So my skin is still sensitive. And I used to, why does my skin have to be so sensitive? And when I was young, go to Church's Fried Chicken. Church's Fried Chicken will bump you up. So I would go to Church's Fried Chicken. It'd be good, but that Church's Fried Chicken would bump you up. And I would be getting the Stridex and, pad wiping down and the Oxy 5 and all that. My skin would just be bumped up. I could not get my skin smooth until my father took me to a convention. We stayed there for an entire week called the Natural Hygiene Society. Now it's called the American Health Association. We stayed there for a whole week in Rockford, Illinois, on a college campus being taught by natural doctors how to eat. When I left that place after a week, 90% of my bumps on my skin were gone. And I learned that at 17 years old. And I was able to stay in that life pattern and keep my skin smooth. But the thorn of my skin kept me on a right diet because if I went off of it, my skin would bump up. My skin is just super sensitive now. I can't wear, a lot of people, they notice I don't have on a wedding ring. They say, you must not have on a wedding ring because you got some issues in there. No, I don't have on a wedding ring because the wedding ring breaks out my finger. I do have on a watch, but this is about the 10th watch that I've had. My skin is ultra sensitive, and I'm hoping, I've had this one now for about 5 or 6 months. It hadn't broken out yet. I had to get a titanium watch with a special hypoallergenic band. My skin is just sensitive. If I put stuff on my skin, it'll just break out. I tried about 10 different wedding rings. I even went to just a pure stone ring. It'll last about 3 or 4 months, and then my skin will go to irritating and breaking out. So I can't put much against my skin because it's so sensitive. I can't eat bad stuff because my skin will just bump all up. It was a thorn of the flesh that I didn't like, and I was fussing about why. Until people went to talking about, your skin is so smooth. Why your skin so smooth? It's so smooth because I got a thorn. And the thorn makes me, it's not like I just choke. No, the thorn because I'll be honest about it. And God spoke this to me when I was in New Orleans recently, and I was walking on the street. I was just feeling phenomenal. And God spoke this. He said, look, you're going to go as low as you can comfortably go. You're going to do as little as you can comfortably do. That's why I got those thorns in your flesh. Because you know if you don't do what I have told you to do, you're going to pay a big price of it. But because you are moving to that path, he said, you will stay in phenomenal condition and you will feel phenomenal for the rest of your days. But God had to put a thorn. So I got a thorn on my skin. Then I have this blood thorn. Well, what you mean blood thorn? I've got extreme cardio sensitivity, meaning just like with the grease that pops out on my skin, I have a time controlling my blood pressure. Now the average American right now, their blood pressure is 100 plus their age. I'm 65 years old right now. The average American has a blood pressure, if with no medication, of 165 over whatever the diastolic pressure is. It's 165. That's the average American. That's why 2 out of 3 folk in America got high blood pressure, and they got to be on medicine. And if you got high blood pressure, you need to be on medicine. My pressure is so sensitive. If I don't do exactly right, my pressure just shoot up. But what God told me is this: if I didn't have that thorn in your flesh, you wouldn't have do right. Now, I know many of you are not like that. Thank goodness you all are so disciplined, and you will do what you need to do without question. You will stay in shape. You will follow what you know to do is right. You will just do it. But for me, God told me, I got to keep these thorns in your flesh or you won't do right. So I've got to, when I run and I'm in good shape and I've done what God told me to do, my pressure remains amazingly low. But if I get off, it just shoots right through the roof. And it is genetic. See, many of you are fussing about genetics. And it's not done to you, it's often done for you. If I didn't have the genetics that I have, I wouldn't do what I need to do. And as a result, I'd be in much worse shape than I am now. But because I got these thorns, it forces me to do what I need to do, or I got to pay a big price. That's why God said, you're not going to be in the middle. You're either going to be terrific or terrible. You're not going to be in the middle. You'll be awesome or awful. You're not going to be in the middle. So I got a choice. And some of you all are the same way. You got a choice between terrific and terrible, awesome or awful. But because many of you got these same thorns, and you blame it on genetics. It's not really genetics. You won't do what the thorn demands you to do. And if you don't do what the thorn demands you to do, now, see, Elijah is highly disciplined. I'll call and talk with Elijah on the phone, and my brother James. Most of the time, if I call James, he end up working out. Now, James is not working out because he just loves working out. I don't know whether Elijah just loves working out. He goes to, I'm not going to tell you what gym he goes to because some of y'all will try to meet him over there. So, but I'll often call Elijah and I can hear him. He's just a running. He's just a sweating. He's just a puffing. Now, Elijah, let me ask you this question. And Elijah makes a quart of fresh vegetable juice every single day. If we travel with him, he's going to find him a fresh juice bar somewhere. Not a bar, a juice bar. There's a big difference. So I want to ask you, Elijah, do you just love working out? Do you just love working out? Shout it out. No. No. He works out like that, and Pastor James works like because we have the Bronner blood thorn. And all of us, my daddy had a heart attack at 45 years old, and he was slender. My mother, who is now 87 years old, she's in phenomenal condition. She can outwalk 90% of the folk in here right now. Mama looks like she's 60, but she's 87. She's just as vibrant. She's just as powerful as she ever was. But Mama has been on blood pressure medicine since she was 35 years old. So we were born with a thorn. Y'all said born with a thorn. And some of you, you're born with a thorn. The thorn is not necessarily negative. It's only negative if you don't do what the thorn requires you to do. And if you don't do what the thorn requires you to do, you're going to be on that terrible end. Good friend of mine, many of you all know him. He's had about 3 or 4 heart attacks, 3 or 4 strokes. But most of you don't know his whole story. He had uncontrollable blood pressure too, because a lot of people do. And he had been on medication, he said, for the stuff since he was like 13, 14, 15 years old. He said when he got 18, he said, I'm a man. I ain't got to do what nobody tell me to do. I ain't got to do what nobody tell me to do. He said when he turned 18, he stopped taking his blood pressure medicine. 2 weeks later, he had a stroke. See, he had a thorn. That's when I said, man, when you eat greasy stuff, your skin. He said, yeah, how you know that? I said, because mine is the same way. And if I do the same thing you do, I'm going to have them 4 heart attacks and 4 strokes. So I got to do something different. Some of you got to do something different. But you understand the thorn can be the greatest blessing in the world. That's why Paul, as he matured, he understood. Thank goodness for this thorn. That's why God wouldn't take it from me. He wouldn't take it from me because he knew he was not doing this to me. He was doing this for me. Some of you got a blood thorn. You got a stomach thorn. You got a breast thorn. Some of you got a brain thorn. Some of you got all kinds of thorns. But those thorns, if you use them right, if you follow what they're telling you not to do or to do, the thorns become some of the greatest blessings in the world. We're all born with some kind of thorn. They're the thorns of life. But if we follow this thing and if we do what we are supposed to do, and it's why I not only feel good, be honest, but I look pretty good. I really do. I was looking at myself in the mirror. I said, man, you look like you about 20 years old, and not just a normal 20-year-old either. You look like you're a 20-year-old athlete. And I'm retirement age. But I look this way because of them thorns. Because if I didn't have them thorns, first of all, I'd get me about a half a dozen Mr. Goodballs, a big bag of chocolate chips. I would. I ain't gonna lie to you, I would. I'd go get it, I'd eat it, I'd enjoy it, and I can do that right now. But if I do, them thorns gonna beat me aside. Them thorns gonna whip me to no end. So we've got to appreciate what God has given us. And when you appreciate it, and when you can view the thorns in a different light, you will shift from where Paul was just pleading with God. Please take these thorns. Lord, take these thorns. I got a thorn in my flesh. Take these thorns away from. Matter of fact, I just realized this now. See, my name is Nathaniel Hawthorne Bronner Jr. What was my first nickname? Thorny. That's what they used to call me. Because it was a nickname from Hawthorne. They used to call me Thorny. That was my nickname. I'm just realizing I got those thorns just stuck on, and some of you in every one of those 7 areas has a thorn. But when you learn to take that thorn, to turn that thorn around, to master that thorn, it'll just change. It changes what you get. It changes what you do. And see, even just the mentality. See, Mama's on her blood pressure medicine. I talked to Mama the other day, and Mama said, I was asking if she wanted to go to Britain. Now, Mama, I just ate. And she said, I had a good breakfast too. She said, I had me some Ezekiel bread. I send my mother every week some freshly baked Ezekiel bread. I order it from a lady who runs a bakery in another little town. She bakes it fresh, sends it to my mother. See, Elijah gets some of it. And my mother said, I sliced up that Ezekiel bread because that Ezekiel bread is healthy as it can be. I sliced that Ezekiel bread. I took that Ezekiel bread, and Mama said, and I put me a fried egg on it. Then I laid some cheese on top of that egg. And then Mama said, and I put me 2 strips of bacon on top of that cheese. now, so Mama said, that sandwich, and I was just listening to Mama and see if I ate that sandwich, but Mama taking her blood pressure medicine. So Mama take that blood pressure medicine, Mama enjoy that sandwich, and but Mama also gets on her bicycle every single day, and Mama exercises. Then Mama goes out in the sun, and Mama's house is neat. So all 3 of those things that George talked about, Mama does all 3 of those things. And Mama said, I'm going to eat me some bacon. That's just all true. I don't care what y'all say. Mama said, I'm going to eat me some bacon. I'm going to eat me some bacon. See, Elijah will make her fresh juice every day. Mama will wash that bacon down with some fresh carrot and celery juice. Mama said, I'm going to eat me some bacon. And see, that's why Jesus said you can partake of any deadly thing when your spirit is right. And I would rather be eating chitlins with a right spirit than sprouts with a bad spirit. Because the spirit and the mind controls it all. And Mama, I got to admit, I don't want someone to tell me, Mama, make me one of them sandwiches. That sandwich sounded good. We are born with thorns. The thorns are not particularly negative. But almost every case I know of where someone has been born with a thorn, when they come up with negative results from the thorn, it's always because they did not do what they should do with the thorn. And when God gives you a thorn, he gives you the opportunity to overcome the thorn. And when you overcome the thorn, you're better off, you're stronger, you're happier, you're healthier, you're wealthier than if you had never had a thorn. And that's why we have to understand that first principle that they teach us among the millionaires. It's not done to me, it's done for me. Anytime you hear somebody talking about, oh, this was my parents, and I'm this way calling my husband, I'm this way calling my wife, I'm this way calling my children, I'm this way calling my color. Whenever you hear somebody talking about that, I can guarantee you they're never headed for the joy of Christ. Because there's always going to be stuff. But when you're able to look at those thorns, and kids used to make fun of me when I was in the 8th grade because I wore size 13 in the 8th grade. So I had feet that were just bigger than everybody else's. And look, don't let anybody make fun of you because of something God gave you. If it's your hair, if it's your nose, if it's your lips, don't let anybody make fun of you because your lips big. Them big old soup coolers, you can cool off some soup better, you can kiss better, you can do all kind of stuff better with them big old lips. Don't let anybody make fun of what God has given you. You do not have nappy hair, you have strong hair. So you got to understand and it's how you look at this stuff. And some of us can, and the darker your skin is, I remember I was at a cosmetic chemist convention years ago, and there was this white dermatologist from Harvard. And he began talking about skin and the difference between white and black skin. And he says this, I'd never seen that man at another convention again. But he began by he said, look, let me tell you unequivocally that black skin is far superior to white skin in 4 out of 5 areas, and white skin is superior to black skin in 1 out of 5 areas. And he named all the areas. He said white skin is superior to black skin with cold resistance. He said, when it get real cold, white skin way better. Ain't no question about it. That's what he said. When it get real cold, it's more resistant to frostbite, got more fat under the layer, you can handle cold. But white skin is way more resistant to cold than black skin. He said, but in the other 4 areas, aging. He said, a black person, and the darker you are, the better it is. He said, number one, you will age 10 years slower than your light-skinned counterpart. He said it has more abrasive resistance, meaning if you skin yourself, you ain't gonna get it. The darker your skin, the tougher it is. The more abrasion resistant. He said it's more pliable. He said we had a problem in the hospital because all of the white nurses wanted to black because the skin felt different. They said it's got this feel to it. So he went through all of these areas. Heat resistance. You have a natural sun protection factor in darker skin. He said 4 out of 5 areas, black skin is far superior. 1 out of 5 areas, white skin is far superior. So it doesn't matter whether you're dark or light. It's what God has given you. And do not let anybody make you feel bad about what God has given you, even if it's a thorn. So when we understand the thorns in our flesh, the thorns in our health, they're not done to us. With the right mentality, they're done for us. So for those of you who got high blood pressure, first of all, if you got high blood pressure, if you're not going to do stuff right naturally, by all means, get on it and stay on your high blood pressure medicine. But if you don't want the medicine, then you need to because it can be controlled naturally. If you're not, number one, get your weight under control. You need to exercise 6 days a week. Don't eat a whole lot of salt. You all know what to do. But if you're not going to do it naturally, you get on that blood pressure medicine. But if you're going to do it naturally, you'll be a lot better off doing it the natural way because it's not going to just help your blood pressure. It's going to help everything else about your life because when your body feels tired, weak, out of energy, your mind is foggy, and you just don't feel as good. Then it helps to just look good. It really does. See, it's 2 types of clothing people buy. People buy clothing to accentuate or to hide. There are 2 different types of clothing. To accentuate. See, if you all built just like some women, when you got a whole lot of curves, you ain't looking for no baggy pants. You're not. You're looking for some yoga pants. Just show everything. That's the truth. So when you got thorns and if you properly react, it even changes the way you look. And sometimes a thorn can be even metabolic rate. You know, some folk can just eat all they want, just never gain, look like they just never gain any weight. We got one fellow at our company from Ethiopia, and he was telling us we go to a company dinner, so we were there at the dinner on Friday, and he was saying, you remember when he told James, you remember when you bet me? And he said, James bet him that he couldn't eat 4 Big Macs, 4 large orders of fries, and then 4 large milkshakes. And James said, ain't no way. He said, if you eat all that, I'll just pay for it. If you eat, and he ate 4 Big Macs, 4 large orders of fries, and then drunk 4 large milkshakes. And the fella is James' size. So I said, how you put up, where's it going? I could see it if you with it, but where's all that going? He got a high metabolism. So some folk just blessed. They can eat anything they want to eat. They can just eat it all, and they just won't gain any weight. They can just eat all this stuff. Some of y'all just look at a piece of cheese and let it pop on your hip. You understand what I mean? It's a thorn. It's a thorn. So I understand thorns of the flesh, but if you view it in the proper manner, this is not done to me. This is done for me. When you understand the power of a thorn, when you understand what it is, that if you master being born with a thorn, it changes your world. And you come out stronger, better looking, better feeling, more prosperous than someone without a thorn. And you'll find that all of the people who have done something great in this world, they've had thorns to overcome. They didn't just have a smooth, they had to overcome thorns because they were often born with a thorn. And your crown of thorns, like Jesus wore, can sometimes be your greatest blessing and your greatest glory. We thank you for joining us today here at Brothers of the Word. You can go to brothersoftheword.com and you can listen to the entire series of the Thorns of Life absolutely free of charge. Thank you for joining us today at Brothers of the Word, because, brother, you need the Word. Amen.